which comes first, sales or marketing?
There is a big difference from hitting 100 or keeping it on 100 to 200 to even more. I mean, I know there's shops doing way more.
That blows my mind that people have the audacity to talk. Like, somebody wants to give you money and that's how you want to talk to people? Absolutely not. Hey everybody, it's Gabe from Detailing Growth. We're back for another Talking Paint episode. And today we are joined via remote by Miguel Peralta of Purple Flair Agency. Did I get that right, Miguel?
Well, Purple Flair Wraps.
Purple Flair Wraps out of Las Vegas. So, Miguel, I think you found me through one of my posts in one of the Facebook groups where I was asking for people that were doing certain amounts of revenue per month. And you had chimed in and you had sent me a DM and we chatted a little bit. And you're running one of the larger operations in Vegas. And I just wanted to connect with you because that's a really, really unique city and opportunity. All kinds of different people and cars roll through that area. And you have been at it for a while, and I just kind of wanted to hear from you, and just maybe we can talk a little bit about what has worked for you and what hasn't, and hopefully inspire the rest of the industry a little bit.
Awesome. Well, thank you for having me. I honestly, when you first posted your, looking for people that were doing over 150, I didn't know what it was about. You know what I mean? Honestly, I know you're, related or with Ceramic Pro, at least at your shop, right? So I thought it was honestly something along those lines. And I was like, well, let me see what it's about, right? Because, you never know. I know you do marketing and you're involved in a lot of things in our industry. So I was like, hey, let me check it out. Maybe it's something stupid and I can laugh, or maybe it's something cool, right? And then you were like, hey, man, we got a podcast. And, actually, if you look at our social media, I'm passionate about, marketing and helping others when I can. I mean, I get a lot of DMs on our business page, on the Purple Flair Wraps Instagram page, people asking, how did you guys do that crumb wrap, like with the tech wrap crumbs and stuff like that a lot of people can use and stuff like that. And I actually take my time and tell people, hey, hit me up on WhatsApp, or, I'll tell you how to do it, at no cost, just good karma. So
right.
When you told me it's a podcast, I was like, hey, what's the worst that could happen? I lose an hour or 30 minutes or whatever of my time. Obviously, I didn't calculate how far the studio was. So, but yeah, man, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So you've got the wrap shop there in Vegas. How big is that shop?
So the shop, we initially got it at 6,500 square foot. However, at the end of last year, we created a mezzanine where we took our production area upstairs so we can fit more cars. So we added 1,200 square foot. So we're technically at 77 with,
wow.
With the add-on space we added. We took our lunch area up there, storage. When we're doing door jams, we take the doors upstairs versus, before we had the car here and then the doors over here. So to take two spaces and then the bumpers and all that. So now we can do that upstairs. We have lamination, plotters and stuff upstairs. So we get a lot of space.
That's awesome. So that's a massive shop. Most of the shops in the industry here are between at least what we would all consider larger shops, guys that are just running a business and aren't doing it themselves, are usually somewhere in that 1,500 to 3,000 square foot range. I myself, I operate Ceramic Pro Pottstown. We have about 5,000 square feet, maybe about 3,500 feet of shop space. And sometimes that's not enough. And I know for a fact that you know what it's like not to have enough space in Vegas. That's for sure. Did I hear you say that you're taking door panels off?
Yeah, like full doors. I mean, we need more space, to be completely honest. If I don't know, FaceTime me when I get back to the shop at night. I mean, we always end up having to squeeze the vehicle so tight to where we have to tell the guys, you get this car out first, this one next, in order for everything to work out. Because we do commercial vehicles as well. And then, like right now we have a bus for a university. Yeah,
a bus?
It's like a 56-foot bus, getting a vinyl wrap.
That's
So,
wild.
those things take space. The commercial wraps, you get vans. We get a lot of vans. We work with a lot of air conditioning business and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, my preferred thing is like the window tints, the ceramic coatings, and the PPFs because you get those out, same day
Yeah.
a lot of times, next day. Commercial wraps, 2 days and stuff like that. So we need the space. We actually wanted to take over the suite next door, but the landlord is smoking something as we speak. So we stay
Yeah.
there.
So how long have you been doing this?
So I started as Purple Flair Agency. As you said, agency at the beginning, that's because of our domain name. And that was 10 years ago.
Wow.
But the whole point of the agency was I used to sell direct mail marketing, billboard, radio ads, TV. So it was a straight agency. But my background was printing. I used to work at a print shop. I got let go. That's all I knew. I came out here to the U.S. From Dominican Republic at 17, and I got a job at a print shop. So I already knew how to print, and I was like, I know I don't want to fucking print. So I got into, agency because I liked the marketing stuff. And then eventually I got back into printing because I was, having to print these postcards to mail them out, having to print the billboards to, get the billboard company to put them up so I can make some money on it. And then eventually I sold a wrap where, one guy, we did his website, and I used to do the websites myself. And he was like, can you wrap my van? And I was like, sure. One of the places that they used to print for me, I seen them doing wraps. So I was like, I'll have your quote tomorrow. I went to them and, he gave me a quote on printing it at a wholesale cost and then installing it also because I didn't know how to install. And I don't know, maybe I don't want to say the numbers wrong, but it was like a $2,000 wrap job. And on that $2,000 wrap job, maybe I made like $400 or $500. Nothing crazy, but I had a lady on a $10,000 a month billboard contract. And I would only make $1,000. So I was like, I almost made the same.
10%?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you don't do nothing with the billboards, right? She was on a 12-month contract and I was making 10%, but still, it was like, you know what? It's a lot easier to get $2,000 out of somebody than $10,000 per month, or 6 months at least. So we kind of started doing the wraps. We changed it to Purple Flair signs and printing. So we started doing the printing and then it was signs and wraps and then eventually wraps. So the last 6 years, I want to say 5 to 6 years, we actually stopped doing all the postcards, the printing, and we just dedicated to the wraps. And in the last 3 years, since we moved to the current shop, is when we added PPF, added window tint, added ceramic coating. So as Purple Flair stands today, what we do today, we've only really been doing for 3 years, like all together, right? The vinyl wraps we've been doing for 6, but it's nothing like what we do now, like what we used to do before. Obviously, you got to evolve, right?
Sure. So, when I put the post out, I was looking for shops that were doing more than $150,000 a month, just because I didn't want to just talk to people that were just touching on 100 like once or twice. I wanted to really talk to people that knew what it's like to reach a status that had sustainability, because you're talking two different levels of revenue and finance management between, hovering between like 80 and 90 per month and then doing 125 to 150 or more per month. So, I mean, right now you're talking, 6 years worth of vinyl, and you're talking 3 years worth of additional protective and aesthetic. What's the average rev look like for you guys over there?
So we're doing about 200 a month right now. We've had months where we've done, thank you. We have months where we've done 300 with, like a big commercial job comes in. This is a good one. We had a job where I think last April or June, Celsius reached out.
Oh, yeah.
And they
the
wanted,
energy drink company.
The energy drink company through an agency, of course, but they wanted 12 Escalades fully wrapped in matte black with crumb letters and then removed in about 5 days.
Oh my
And they
God.
wanted all the wraps done in like 2 days. We told them we could do them in 3 days. We actually did them in 2 days. We did 7 the first day and 6 the second day. We actually left early the second day. And
you had
and
to
then
put everybody on that, right? Everybody?
Yeah, everybody. And this is something I would say, if anybody, you're watching, you're scaling your business, you got to treat your installers right. But even if there's installers that might come up, like, Vegas is very competitive, and we have installers that come and ask for work, and maybe we don't need them right now. I'm always like, if I'm going to hire somebody, I want to make sure I have the work. But I'm like, hey, but you know what? I'll keep your number. And if a project comes along where we need you, I'll give you a call. And, we had a few guys like that, maybe 3 or 4 that I brought in just for the project, that were, one was out of a job. Another one is he used to work with us for about a year, but he's an electrician by trade. He worked with us during COVID because, the company he used to work at was shut down. So he was really, really good installer, so he would come in the afternoons, like at 2:00 those days, and help for a few hours. Another guy was working somewhere else. So he would come at night and do the logos. And yeah, we got it done. We got it done. And in that month, we hit like 290 because, that was a good, quick, job for like 50-60K that we did in 2 days, which normally,
because they knew they couldn't be perfect either, because you're ripping them out so far. So it was just like, you do everything you can to get it right and to make it look fantastic. But like at the end of the day, it was lick and stick, right? It was just like, let's get it done. Let's make sure there's no massive edges and creases, and like get the logos on it, get it out.
100%. As a matter of fact, the agency that hired us, they were impressed because they've used another shop before and they never took the handles out. We have a shop mechanic, and I'm like, what am I going to do? Give this kid 2 days off? Because, that we set up the shop to just be those 2 days. I'm like, no, take off all the damn handles and then just run back and put them on. And that made the installations obviously way faster. And then so he would wipe down the cars, take out the handles. As he was doing that, the guys were wrapping the roof and the hood, and then we wrapped the sides. Obviously, full shit install, like a commercial wrap. And then the one guy would come at night, the electrician, and put the logos on. And we got it done. It was a good month. And yes, I understand exactly what you're saying. Like, we used to, when I started, there was months I didn't even hit 3,000 shit. It was... You start from zero. I started from zero. So, but there is a big difference from hitting 100 or keeping it on 100 to 200 to even more. I know there's shops doing way more. And, if one of you are watching, I look up to you, and I would love to learn from anybody doing more. We are fighting and hoping and establishing ourselves to do more, right? But it's definitely a whole different battle as far as like systems and everything. I know there is a post where I seen that Mike Norm was talking about, once you hit 2 million, you got to have a guy cleaning the floors, and, your cost goes up for various things. And that is true because my guys are installing now, especially let's say on that job, we had the cleaning guy going around because
you had to pick up all the vinyl and all the trimmings. Like, like you got parts everywhere. Crazy. Yeah, I bet you it was like a complete madhouse. And like at the end of the day, like I have times in my shop where I walk by the laundry room and I'm like, yo, when was the last time we did towels? And they're all like, have you looked around? Like even the guy that has to do that stuff, like when it's busy, like it's easy to let those small jobs be neglected. And like to Mike's credit, like that kind of stuff makes a difference in how a shop operates at scale. And that's the things that nobody worries about. Like nobody ever thinks about how much it matters to have a clean space until you look at it and you're like, yo, this is filthy, but I got nobody to clean it. Yeah.
And I'm one of those guys, to be honest. We get on the road and we're installing, I know how to install vinyl and PPF, a little bit of tint, coatings. Coatings I'm good at. Tint is where I'm not as good. But the point is, I'll be helping the guys when we're busy. I'll jump back there, start installing to get this car out, whatever, and I'll make a huge mess myself. But then my wife comes in the afternoon and, then we got to hear it, you guys got to clean the shop. So that's why we have the cleaning guy. And then, those are things that you got to be taken care of. We take a lot of pride in taking every single customer to the back of the shop, giving them a tour, showing them the work, check out the edges on this PPF. There is no edge, right? And stuff like that, just to kind of set ourselves apart because Vegas is cutthroat. There's guys out here doing front end PPFs. I can actually probably show you a message in one of my phones, but $1,200 for a full front end, and it's
what, bro? That guy is doing nothing but eating at the McDonald's drive-through. That's a fact.
That particular operation. There's a few like that, to be honest. We do a lot of our homework and we do a lot of price shopping. So I'll get a SIM card and I'll be like, tell my friend, this guy, call them all, and ask for this. And obviously we try to use vehicles that are kind of industry standardized. So like if you're quoting PPF and you really want to know what somebody's charging, you don't ask for a CA. I think you ask for a Tesla Model 3, Model Y, because in the CA, they might charge more for the little trims, or they might not include it in the initial quote, so you don't know. But on the Model 3 or the Model Y, whatever, those are pretty standard. And there's a few shops charging that price range. One of them, me and other owners in the same industry, or competitors, if you will, have determined that it must be money laundering, because it just doesn't make sense. There's a shop in town.
That's the only way.
I mean, you answer me this. We have a customer, and I see the cars that are shopped now for something else. So this guy calls, and we've done a few cars for him, and he has a lot of money, but he's also, he doesn't like to spend a lot on his cars.
He's conscious about it.
He's kind of cheap when it comes to the wraps and the protection. He'll have an Aventador. He'll put a ton of money on a Super Bowl bet. He bet $1 million on the Super Bowl and won. But hey, how much to wrap my Aventador in a chrome wrap, red chrome? And we give him the price and say $8,000, and he's like, oh well, this other shop quoted me $3,000
for a chrome wrap.
For a chrome wrap, and now mind you, I'm like, my sales guy comes and tells me, Miguel, and I'm like, there is no effing way this is possible, right? Call the shop. And guess what? $3,000. And I'm like, wait, are you using, ask them if they're using, I can't call because they'll recognize my voice, but for all the videos, but my front desk guy asked, are you using hexes, or are you using tech wrap? Because the customer wanted hexes. No, we're using hexes, and we put it in writing for you. They sent an invoice and everything for $3,000. The customer ended up not doing the wrap altogether. We're just doing some PPF on the cars at our shop. But I mean, how do you explain that besides money laundering? You call one of the vendors, and for that material, it's $2,500.
Yeah.
You buy the exact amount of material you need. If you buy the full roll, which you should, you're looking at $2,700. And it takes a week, and it's got to be installed, and the installer's got to get paid.
Yep.
And he pays his guys decently, because I had a couple guys come from that shop, and we ended up letting them go. That's a different story. But I know how much he pays the guys. And so it's like, okay, what other explanation do you have? If I was money laundering, I would do a chrome wrap for even less, because the chrome wrap allows you to say that you could say it was $15,000 on the books, and that the guy paid $3 on a credit card and $12 in cash. And I just cleaned $12,000. But
dude, listen, only in Vegas and do you see stuff like that. I have to scratch my head and at stuff like that, because if it's for real, if for whatever reason, the highly unlikely event that it is, there's no shot that it's any type of quality. That's for sure, because that dude is just eating. He's definitely eating like ramen noodles and like McDoubles. That's for sure. And I think you touched on something that's important, and you said you do price shopping, and like usually you don't have to do that frequently if you aren't in a super competitive market. And I think that's an important thing to talk about, because you see people all the time mention things like, oh, you don't need to worry about everybody else. They're not your competition. And, you don't just focus on yourself. And I think that's true to a point, right? But at the end of the day, when you're in a very competitive metro, like that's a very competitive metro, you have to have a pulse on those things. It doesn't mean that you obsess over your competition's pricing, but you should still at least know what your competitors are doing. So that way you can create and formulate like, okay, they're charging this. That means that I need to formulate my offer this way. And I need to create ways to make these guys understand that the reason we're charging this is because of this, right? And that's the differentiating point, is like, it's not all about price. It truly isn't at this level. It has nothing to do with price and everything to do with the experience. And that is what I'm getting at, is that's what everybody's missing. And that's what everybody doesn't have on lock. And I say all that and I ramble on about that to come to you and ask, what is it about your experience that has you doing almost $200 to $300,000 a month? What's the experience that you're bringing to the table? What can some of the rest of the industry take from you to maybe put in place in their business?
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm ever learning. I'll sit there on my phone on Facebook groups, and that's kind of how we met. And you have somebody like, let's say, Adam Coate from Ceramic Pro make a post that is super, super loaded with amazing information and industry knowledge, or simply answer a question. Somebody will ask sometimes a dumb question that sparks up a really good discussion, right? That talks about pricing, positioning, sales, etc. I know what you're saying, and there is markets, and I know some of those guys that are saying that, like, oh, you don't have to, price shop. You don't have to this, you don't have to that. It depends what market you're on. I have a friend, a good friend of mine, Kevin Yu with Auto Film Solutions in Colorado Springs. That's not a very competitive market. He's doing way more than we are. I mean, way more than we are. And they are more relaxed in doing those numbers. But here's the thing. Kevin's background, my background was printing, right? So we didn't do wraps, we printed. So I knew nobody. So I've been building my relationships. Kevin's background, he used to work doing window tint and paint protection film at some dealerships. So when he opens his shop, he can reach out to those people that he already knows and get some of those accounts that are dealership accounts that give you a level of stability. Second, the market over there, they have snow. So people want to protect their cars with PPF to protect them from the snow and ceramic coating and stuff. They might sell less window tint or less high performance window tints than somebody in Vegas, but it's still a less competitive market. And the people, just the type of people that are on those cities are different than the people, let's say, in a market like Vegas or maybe Miami. We have a lot of people that are migrating into town, and they don't give a damn about a relationship with you or anybody else. They want to protect their cars. Some of them want quality. Some of them just want a price. Ultimately, they, it's really initially about the price for them. And the price shopping allows us to know XYZ shop is charging $1,200, XYZ shop is charging $3,500 or $2,500 or whatever. It allows us to know what to say, what to do, how to position our offer, right? So like, last month was really slow, kind of middle of the month. And I'm like, okay, I'm freaking out. We're not gonna hit our numbers. Let's do a sale, right? So we do a blast through our CRM, and we basically keep the same price of the front end, but we just added the pillars. We get the pillars or the door edges,
which you can fit in the scrap plot anyway.
100%. And then boom, that, we send that to all of our contact lists, past customers, current customers, leads, everybody, you name it, they all got a text. Sales came in, some people, there was a guy, for example, that came in for a commercial wrap. We did a sale on every single tint. So for like window tint, we did, if you buy a full tint, we were doing like 40% off on the windshield, which we have the windshield's price at $300. So we brought it down to like $200 and something, which is cheap, but we're still bringing people in the door. And now we are adding ceramic coatings and other stuff. And
yeah, you extract value on the cross sell and the upsell.
Exactly. And these are people that are already on our contact list. So I could go and say, Gabe, which, I know you do ads. Hey, can you increase my budget on my ad spend? So now I'm spending $500 or $30 more per lead to get new leads. Or these are people I already talked to. They already see my Instagram. They see my YouTube. They got a quote from us. It wasn't the right time for whatever reason. And now, they got a little bit of an urge. They buy it. There was a guy that had a fleet of commercial vehicles that came in from that sale. He didn't need PPF or tint. But he's like, yeah, I talked to you guys 8 months ago. I'm finally ready to get my commercial vehicles. I could get it in next week because it's spring break and we're shutting down. Well, bring them down. That was 3 vehicles, and
that's good. All it takes, just to have the bare minimums of essentials in marketing. Like a CRM is massive, like one that supports your business on every single front. If you don't have that, forget it. There's like, you don't stand a shot in a super competitive market without a tool like that, without having to eat ramen noodles every day, because you need tools that support email. You need tools that support text messaging. And the biggest and most important of all, and I think that this is the one that I get the most frustrated with, is guys talk to me and they say, Gabe, I don't know where my marketing dollars are being spent. I don't know what kind of return I'm getting. And the first question out of my mouth is, okay, do you have a CRM? Where do all of your leads go? and they don't have anything. And I'm like, so you're advertising on multiple platforms and you don't have a way to track the source of your inbound, right? Source tracking for inbound is the only way that you can truly measure your return on your ad spend and marketing dollars. There's no other way to do that. And I talk to smaller ops all day long, and I try and give as much as I can, but sometimes I have to like turn it off and like not respond to DMs and leave people on red, not on purpose, but simply because if I didn't, I wouldn't get anything else done, because people come to me with that kind of stuff all the time. And it's some of the, I want to give, but at the same time, there's so many of them that just don't have a clue. They haven't been given good education. They never took a business class, not even the most basic one. And I come all that to say this is, if you were going to extract any piece of advice from how you're marketing your current business and how you're using those tools available, right? What advice do you give to somebody else who's considering looking for a CRM to support their business? Like, what should they look for? What type of company should they be looking for to operate that?
I'm glad you changed the question. That's exactly what I was going to say. Instead of looking for, I mean, you need a CRM, but I will say on my experience, because we did everything trial and error. And like I said, I used to be an agency, so I used to run my own Facebook ads. And that was an ongoing battle. So I would book some jobs, like really be on top of the ads, book some jobs. And then I would get busy. And then I would let the ads go to crap, because you're not optimizing them. And the leads, we weren't closing. So I'll be busy for 2 weeks, slow for 1 week, busy again for 2 weeks, slow for 1 week. That week that was slow, I would get on the sales process and on the marketing and then get some leads again. The first thing I would do is definitely find a company that can do your ads in a whole. Then, I found somebody that can run when we kind of started trying to scale or putting any money into marketing outside of me doing it. I found a company that would do Google ads, and that's all they would do. No Facebook. So then I'm doing the Facebook and the Instagram or whatever. And that's not good. I think you need a company that can do both. Really just hand that up to somebody, focus on being good at selling and good at installing, right? The marketing and the sale is as important, or if anything, more important.
That's what I was going to ask you next. Which comes first, sales or marketing? Because this is the most debated question. Marketing?
Marketing. I mean, if you ever come to Las Vegas, or maybe you already have been to this place, go to Hell's Kitchen. Go to Hell's Kitchen by Gordon Ramsay. The food is meh. And that's just me saying
you're saying Gordon's flagship restaurant is mid?
It's crap, to be honest. And I shouldn't say this because, maybe Gordon wants to wrap a car someday and I just took my, opportunity out. But here's what I'm saying. The food is, and guess what? Gordon's not cooking it, right? He's just a face, but he has such a big marketing name behind it that there is lines and lines of people going. And there's people that go and they would agree with me that the food is not great, but they would still post it and say, oh my God, eating a Gordon Ramsay, whatever, just because it gives them some sense of status. So in that case, is the food more important than the marketing? I would say the marketing is more important than the food. I've been to little hole-in-the-wall restaurants in New York City or even in Vegas that are amazing. Like the food is great. I mean, super good, well-priced, etc. And you can get a table right away because they don't have their marketing together. They don't have a website, or the website is not optimized, or they're not advertising. I mean, I believe you are only going to get as far as your reach, right? So how do you increase your reach? By, you either become a celebrity or an influencer, which that's probably harder than saying, I'm going to put $100 a day on Google and get fucking 10 leads for PPF and close 1 or 2 of them.
Right. And I think that's where, I am of the belief that marketing is very important, but ultimately to execute on marketing requires sales skills. And I'm a big believer in that. Maybe during COVID, the sales skills didn't really matter because people were cash rich and they had like the small business stimulus that went out and like they had that and people were just like, you can get me in tomorrow. Here, take my money. But now that that's faded away, it's been reabsorbed and like it's not surplus anymore. Now the marketing is important, but now it's who has all of their points in place, who's got all their structure, who's got all of the pillars supporting their business. And next to marketing, if not more than marketing, it's sales skills. Because if
100%.
somebody comes to you and they want whatever service from you, they want a full front, and you don't get them, and you don't convert them, what do you think is going to happen? Even if you can't convert them right then, but if you don't have a chance at having a really genuine conversation and building that relationship with them, what do you think happens? They hit the back button, go back to Google, and find the next shop. And they're going to keep going down the list until they find the shop that's going to deliver on the experience, right? And deliver on that is somebody that has those sales skills to be able to cut through the BS objections and the noise and be able to have a serious conversation. And that's almost, I'd say 75% of the industry doesn't have that skill set dialed in.
I think you're right. And I wasn't saying, maybe I should have said my answer better, right? But I'm with you. I feel like, well, in order for you to do sales, first you got to market, right?
Sure. You need the opportunity.
So you need the opportunity, and that's through marketing. That's through, SEO, whatever, an Instagram video, whatever, right? That's marketing. And then you got to sell. Yes, I strongly believe that. And I actually talk to, obviously we deal with a lot of customers to do the numbers we do. And I always talk to people and I ask questions, what other shop did you go to? I'm always doing the research, like ones that dropping off the car, nice to meet you. That's in the case I didn't close them, meeting them at the time of dropping off, and they dealt with my guy, Ivan. How did you hear about us? And, what's the referral? Did you find us on Google? Did you see us off the freeway? Did you talk to any other shops? Why didn't you go with that shop? How much did they quote you, etc.? I get as much info as I can. And I think sales, okay, now we're on Google. We're on the first page. Get that out of the way. Sales is definitely the most important. Once, we're all there and they're calling everybody, sales is the most important. In fact, I had a lady recently, her car is at the shop right now. It's a Ford Explorer. She wanted a full-bodied stealth PPF. So she calls, I get the lead. I give her a quote and she's like, okay, I'm going to get back to you, right? I listened to some good sales trainers in the morning when I go to the gym, whatever. Andy Elliott, if anybody wants to go on YouTube and search him out. So, Andy says, and, I've gotten people from, let's say, Grant Cardone's office try to sell me some stuff. So, you get off the phone with them and the guy automatically goes and takes a video or a picture, and sends your picture and says, hey, Gabe, this is Miguel with Purple Flair App. We just spoke. Just wanted you to put a face to the name, and here's our shop. So I took it a little step further. I do that with everybody that I talk to that sounds like there is hope in it, right? There's some people that are just like, oh, how much is your Tint job? $369. Oh, click. I'm not sending a video to that person. They are looking for the
you should be able to tell the difference between somebody who's engaged and who's just shopping and who doesn't have a clue. Like you as a salesperson and somebody with sales skills need to have that dissection ability.
So I'll go and I'll make, I send the lady a video. I use this app called Dual Cam. I don't know if you can see it, but it basically shows you both cameras. So I'll record her, I send her a video what we got in the shop. Boom, send her a custom video. She said, I got to talk to my husband. So I say hi to the husband on the video. Any questions, let me know. 2 days later, they show up and they got a tour of the shop. We had another vehicle that was waiting to be picked up, thankfully completed with stealth PPF. So they saw it and they loved it and boom. She puts a deposit and tell me, you know what? Because I asked her, where did you go? The prices you guys? She's like, I'm going to do you a favor. And I'm like, what? She's like, I have a spreadsheet of every shop I call. I have the names, the name of the shop, the name of the person that helped me. I gave it a rating from 1 to 10. I have the price. And I wrote notes of, like, one shop quoted her a high price and the roof was not included. So it's like $9,000, but the roof is another $1,200 or $2,000. It's like, it's a stealth PPF. Just quote roof at once. And some people were rude and all that. And now going back to the sales, one thing I told her, and I always say is like, you have installers that open up their shop and, guys working from home, or maybe they even rent a place and they're like doctors with terrible bedside manners. There's a guy here in town. I won't mention his name because there's a guy here in town and I won't mention his name because I like the guy. I used to print for him and before he got printers, and he's an incredible installer. I would love to hire him as an installer, but if you as a customer tell him, any freaking thing, you might as well be ready to fight him. I mean, this guy, the way he's going to respond to you, and he carries a gun on his waist, on his shop, and it's just, you have to
not
be
customer-centric, not.
exactly. So he can only scale so much, right? Because he has to find people that are like him, right? Deeply like him, as far as like the culture, the way he dresses, the mini trucks, the guns, and everything, to be able to deal with him, because they would understand that, right? But we deal. I mean, we have, like I said, in the shop right now, we have a bus, we have an Aventador, we have a Ford Explorer. The people with the Ford Explorer have a huge business that they're actually starting to give us some of that, the print business for these elevator doors and stuff like that. We have a Tesla for a lady that's a Lady Gaga impersonator. We have, a different range of cars. We have Mercedes-Benz for a guy that I know is a drug dealer. So we deal with all kinds of people. You got to be able.
They come in all types.
You got to be able to be a chameleon and deal with different people. And hey, I might be, I don't know, dealing with an old man. I could tell right away when it's an older man because they're like, say that again, because they're writing it down. And I'm like, okay, these are good because they are really going to do the research. And if they say they're coming, they're freaking coming.
Oh, yeah. They're definitely going to be there on the dot. Yeah. They went to MapQuest and printed it out.
Yeah, we actually had one the other day. He had a Rivian and he came in and, if you don't have the experience, you will make the mistake that one of my guys is going to make. He's like, oh, this guy's here. He said he spoke with you on the phone. He's here to get a quote. He has a Rivian. He wants PPF, blah, blah. But I think he's shopping us. I'm like, why do you think he's shopping us? Oh, he has a paper with a bunch of things written down to take notes. I'm like, oh, no, he's leaving a deposit is what he's doing. And he's like, why you say that? I'm like, how old is he? He's like, oh, he's older. I'm like, that's how old people roll. Like, just don't put any bad energy. I'll be right there. So I start giving the guy a tour of the shop and I see him adding to the list. And he went from being a front end to a track pack plus the pillars in black and the back bumper in black and tint and this. It would become like a $7,500 ticket. But when I noticed it was that detailed, and I do have a short attention span, and the guys come and ask me to buy more material, and I have a wife and kids and whatever, I have a lot going on. So then I'm like, you know what, sir? I give him the tour, and then I started. We have a conference table set up for this, and I'm like, just sit right there. Let me get you a water, and I get Ivan. Ivan is my sales guy, and Ivan, his job is to sell. So if it takes 3 hours, he would take 4, and he would really take his time with that guy and do what it takes. And sure enough, I had him on the front end already. 2,000 for the front end, pretty standard. But I knew that he had more on the list because I seen it. That's when I got Ivan. I was like, hey, look. Make sure you get him to flip the page because there is more stuff, and just close him. He's taking delivery next week, and Ivan, he's like a chameleon. We could talk to an old man, we can talk to a drug dealer, we could talk to a businessman with the respect they deserve and making them feel like a home. And Ivan closed him. The guy walks out to his car, brings a freaking 20 as a deposit. A week later, he leaves his car, comes back and pick it up and pays everything in cash. And if it was the guy that I was talking about earlier with the gun on the waist, as a matter of fact, I had another customer that went to that guy and he wanted to wrap an electric scooter. The guy was a retired vet that got harmed, lost a leg or whatever. And he had an electric scooter. He wanted to wrap it in military camo. He went to that guy's shop. He asked for a quote. And the guy said, well, I need to see the scooter. And he said, well, it's in the truck outside. Well, I don't have fucking time to go outside right now. That's what he answered him.
What?
Yeah. 100%.
Dude, that blows my mind that people have the audacity to talk. Like, somebody wants to give you money and that's how you want to talk to people? Absolutely not.
Yep. And I get it. They're thinking, oh, well, what is this guy? A $500 scooter, $700 scooter. I'll fucking take him any day. Guess what? And actually, this just came to me right now as I put it together. We did the guy's scooter. I probably charged him like $600. The guy was really happy. This is about a year ago. Last week, and I have the check on my desk. I have to cash it. A company called Adaptability that he referred, that takes care of people like him, came to wrap one of their trucks. They have 4 trucks. They came to wrap one to begin with, and they dropped $3,800 because we took the scooter. And we made money on the scooter. The scooter was like a printing house. We printing house, we have a printer. So the print was probably $50. So It's still money.
Yeah, exactly. Everybody's money is green at the end of the day. And listen, sometimes like I can tell you for sure that either me or Justin, my GM, if that guy came into our shop, we bend over backwards for that guy. Number one, he's a vet. And they deserve to be treated better than everybody else, including you and me. And number two, the fact that this guy was willing to come.
They're a community too.
Oh, yes, they are. They're very, very tight knit. And the fact that they're willing to come out and consider that, like that tells me that it's something that they're interested in and they care about. And like all it takes is just a little bit of energy and compassion for somebody, and that gets repaid to you. And I that goes 100%. Back to the first statement that you put out, and that's just like putting good karma out and putting good energy out. Because at the
I was just gonna say that again. The good karma returns to you tenfold. 100%. Go ahead. I'm sorry to cut you.
That's okay. I think that we're coming up on like 44 minutes worth of recording here. So like there's a ton that we've got that's been really awesome. I think that the one piece that I really liked the most from you is number one, you talked about the Duo Cam app and the video that you send to people. That's fantastic. We do something similar. If we have leads that we haven't been able to get a hold of, we will send them a picture message and an email with a whiteboard with their name written on it. And we say, click here. It'll be like, Kevin, click here, right? And it plays them a video message after the fact. And when they click through it, it opts them in for direct communication, and they can click a button that says, connect me now. And it'll come through and ring your phone, and you can have a video chat with them immediately. And
that's awesome.
Yes.
You got to send me that up.
Absolutely, I will. And that's been one of the coolest things we've implemented besides just sending the video. Sending the video is great, but using tools like that and like really creating innovative solutions and interactive solutions has been like next level in terms of what we've been able to do. Coupling that with the statement that you made is you got to be a chameleon. And I just want you to know that that's quite possibly the most accurate sales representation and like embodiment that I've ever heard. Ever. Because at the end of the day, it takes all types to get a business to where you're at. And you're going to get every type of person that's from every walk of life. And a salesperson, and a good salesperson, has the ability to energy match and personality mimic all the time with any person.
But I think you got to more than energy match. You got to make them energy match you. Because I actually had this conversation with my sales guy like 2 days ago. And just like I said, he lost the damn sale. So he had this guy, we use a CRM that records the calls and everything, right? Which I know you do that for your people as well. And that's very important because, I can go back and listen to my own sales call, and I go back and listen to his sales calls. And more importantly, if a client is on the phone and he's saying, you guys quoted me this, I could see the conversation, but I heard the call and, first, it sounded like the guy is really for sure on the first call, the one that I didn't hear. He's going to drop off the Tesla tomorrow. He's taking delivery at 3. I'm going to meet him at the dealership. I'm going to help him. I mean, we go out of our way. You want a full body PPF and you worry about the inspection at Tesla, I'll be there. I'll do the inspection with you.
Do the same thing, 100%.
And we'll drive the car over here. You can follow me on the freeway. Yep. I'll get a flatbed, whatever it takes. We want your business. We want your business for life. And that's important to state it to people. But anyways, the guy calls back around 6:30, and I told him, look, if you're not going to be present on the phone call, just don't take the damn phone call. Because he was talking to the guy, yeah. Oh yeah. No, the guy was trying to add more things. First, he was on the front end. We have a package which is front end, tint, and coating, and he was on that package. And then he's like, he wanted to add the rocker panels, and the pillars, make it a track pack. Right. And he's just, yeah, we can add that. It's gonna be, kind of like, bro. I was like, I called him right after. I'm like, I just heard your phone call. Were you ordering fast food or what the fuck were you doing? Like,
you better wake the hell up, man. Like, that's not cool.
That's what I told him. Well, that's how he was talking. I was like, yeah, that's how he was talking. But think about this. He's not getting a fucking Corolla. He didn't go by a dealership No, and nothing against Corollas. We do Toyotas. We have a dealership next door to us. But he didn't drive by the dealership, turn around and get a car. He ordered a car and he waited for that car. So that guy is excited to get his freaking car in less than 24 hours. So keep that level of excitement, make him more excited. Gabe, I'm so excited for you, man. Tomorrow you're getting your Model Y, dude.
Yeah.
I can't wait to protect it, And that's how you're going to get that damn sale.
Exactly.
I think, and that's what's been my experience because, hey, Gabe, I'm excited. I'm excited for you to get the car, but I'm excited for you to pick it up from us because now you're going to be able to drive it worry-free. You're not going to, worry about rock chips, the tint, the heat is not going to hit you anymore. It's going to be coated. It's going to be beautiful. I'm really excited for you. And they haven't even given me their business. But a lot of times those guys will come back and say, hey, Miguel, guess what? I am going to go with you. I'm getting the car tomorrow. I'm coming, whatever. Because we live in a world where people are freaking dead. So what's going to make you stand out?
That's the experience piece that I was talking about that everybody is missing. They think that their experience is all of the features that they list off about the film and the features of the products that they use and their level of expertise. And sure, that's part of it. But the biggest piece is about how you make these people feel. And if you're not willing to give them 110% of your energy, then you had you're better off just closing the doors, because at the end of the day, these are people that care about their cars and they want to make sure they leave it with somebody that cares. And
exactly.
I know that I'm not willing to have any work done by anybody for anything unless I know for a fact that that person or that business has so much enthusiasm for what they do that it oozes out of them, because me and my crew operate the same way. I refuse to accept anything less, because let me tell you that it's very rare that when you come across somebody like that that's genuine and you have a bad experience.
Yeah. And actually, I heard this morning actually at the gym where Andy Elliott says, a lot of salesmen, they're selling the steak. I'm selling the sizzle in the steak. And that is huge. That is huge. That's it. Because at the end of the day, I mean, we're an XPEL shop. We represent XPEL. Mm-hmm. But and XPEL is a great partner. And if my rep sees it, his name is Paul. I love Paul. He takes care of us. There's a problem. He sends us shirts and brings us food and everything. But, don't take this out of context, but, fuck XPEL and Ceramic Pro and Suntech and everybody. Because at the end of the day, I'm fitting my family through my company. So tomorrow XPEL may get bought out by 3M, and now we're a 3M shop. And tomorrow they may get bought out by Lumar, now we're a Lumar shop. I don't really care. I tell people, clients, right, a lot of films, and you can see it if you go on our Instagram, a lot of films have the same warranties nowadays. A lot of films, the market is very competitive. The same way it's competitive with us. The film companies are all pushing to have the next best thing. People have arguments about what's better, a Ford or a Chevy. Well, they're both going to give you 100,000 miles. They're both freaking trucks. It's an opinion thing. What I want you to know, Mr. Customer, let's say Gabe, is that I'm going to give you the best service, and we're going to give you the best possible install. We're going to stand behind our work, and I should tell people about the experience we had. There was one time I was starting out, and this guy hit me up to wrap a Bentley. And it was like, shoot, let's get a Bentley in the shop, gave him a great price, $2,000 for the wrap, which is bad. And, I didn't have a dedicated shop mechanic. So I used to have this guy come in, a mechanic, take out the door handles and bumpers and all that. He took it apart. I personally wrapped the car. When he came to put it back together, he did something wrong where the car locked out. We got locked out of the car. So I called the customer because, there was information online that maybe because the car wasn't jacked, because we powder coated the wheels, maybe the car went into anti-theft mode, whatever. The guy, being a Bentley owner, not knowing anything about the car himself, says, just get a locksmith and open the damn windows. Don't worry about it. No, you gave me a great price. I'll pay the locksmith. He sat there as the locksmith came. The locksmith opened the windows and left. He paid him $100 and tipped him $20-$30. The locksmith left. We have found him like a marketplace or something like that. Never seen the fucker again. 2 days later or 1 day later, the customer calls me and says, well, Miguel, today I put the top up and to drive, and the windows, when they go up, they drop. they won't stay up. They stay like 6 inches open. So, let's try to figure it out. I call the locksmith, he doesn't answer, he's gone. The mechanic that took it apart for me didn't know anything either. So we ended up going to a shop, and it cost me $5,500 to get to get 2 new window regulators installed on the Bentley. And guess what? This is why we tell people, we paid it. The guy still gave us a good review because we paid it. And we obviously lost, right? I mean, he still had the wrap, but we stand behind the work. So, when a customer says, oh, well, what? I never heard of XPEL. I heard of 3M. I heard of Lumar. Or is XPEL better than this? I'm like, they're all really good. If you Google it, XPEL is definitely one of top 3. However, you don't have to worry about that. This is what you have to worry about. We'll get the car back to you in X amount of hours. We stand behind our work. We this, we that. We wrap our edges. And again, we do everything electronically. So we send you reminders of your appointment. We do a 2-week inspection where we have you come back, and that's automated. We send you a yearly reminder. So in 1 year, we tell you, hey, come back for a deep cleaning of your PPF or a boost of your ceramic coating, whatever. And that's where the sales needs to be or should be, because at the end of the day, what's the difference between this doctor and that doctor? They're both going to give you aspirin. It's how this one makes you feel about it, right? He might tell you this aspirin is going to change your fucking life. You're going to feel better. And now it'll work better in your mental level,
Right. I think that the approach that you take on that is almost identical to mine. So this is almost the identical script that I give these guys. And I say, listen, as long as you're getting film from one of the big 5, that's Ceramic Pro, XPEL, Lumar, SunTech, Steck, one of these companies like this, they all have a great product. But that's only 20% of what really matters. The other 80% is the shop you choose. And because at the end of the day, if you go and pick the shop that gives you the cheaper price, and then they start cutting on your car, you're probably not going to be super happy when you've got it looks like somebody drug a pizza cutter across your car. I had a client come through that has a Charger, and he loves this car. He's an ex-military vet, and he had went to this other shop, and they were quick to take his money, do the work. It turns out they did a really crappy job, and it was lifting and bubbling everywhere. It's just one of those shops that's just like, they just need a warm body to slap on film, and they just do a horrible job. But they've been around so long that they've got a decent reputation, but people don't do enough research. So he gets the work done. He gets lied to about what he's getting. He goes back to have some things fixed. Goes back a second time, and by the third time, it's horrible. He comes into my shop and he's like, hey, I have this car and I got the work done somewhere else. I'd like you to take a look at it. And as we open the garage door and he's pulling in off the street, it's like 30 feet away, and we all go like, oh no. You could see it from that far away. He pulls in, every single edge is cut short and gouged in this guy's car. And it was to the point where, like I said, listen, this bumper I might be able to wet sand, but there's nothing else that's going to get this stuff out of the hood. And it was like they took a pizza cutter and was just like this, and that's what they used to cut it. And
remember that forest plotter I told you about?
Yeah.
Same thing on the hood around the forest plotter letters. He had a partial front end, and we ended up having to wrap. We sanded it and it didn't work, so we ended up having to wrap the hood on vinyl.
Yeah,
and then do the PPF on top. Sorry to cut you, but
no, yeah, that's exactly what we did. We did his we had to do his hood, his roof, and his trunk in matte PPF to get this thing looking good again. And he went through all the extra effort to order the factory carbon fiber stripes and all that. And I was like, listen, you can get a set and put them back on top, but I think it'll probably look better without them. This guy ordered that car and spec'd it out the way that he wanted to. And he tried to do the right thing and picked the wrong shop. And he ended up with a nightmare. Luckily, the bumper was we wet sanded the shit out of it, and we were able to slap the film on, and it looked really good. You only see it if you really go squinting for it. And it's just those types of experiences are the ones that we often use as examples. relating to exactly what we just talked about, and that's that the film isn't the biggest thing, it's the shop. The shop makes the difference.
Okay.
And I think that
Yeah.
I think on that note, I want to touch on one more thing before we go. Now you talked about the Bentley and like the $5,500 fuck you that you had for that. Tell me, what do you think the single most like maybe embarrassing or moment where you had a failure that you're just like, I can't believe this happened in your journey here? Like, what comes to mind?
Yeah, the two things really come to mind: the Bentley, and then we had a lady one time that uh, back charged us for like 55. Well, I guess that's my lucky number, huh? $5,500.
Just
Um,
put that together.
yeah, and it was for printing. We're still doing prints. We're doing wraps. We're doing prints, and so
Mhm.
the reason why I'm saying it's prints is so you know there's not like it was a quality issue, whatever. We did a bunch of banners for this lady for an event, and she had her event. I was a guest of the goddamn event, and she had pictures all over social media in her event, and then she backcharged us. Yeah, we were using PayPal and as a
Yeah.
way to take our payments, and she used a credit card from China because she was doing business here and there, and she freaking backcharged us, and we lost that money. And from there, we learned obviously some of the most important things I would say, I know we're coming to the end, is having your paperwork in order, having a company that does your marketing that is not just running your ads, but it's more partnering with you. If you don't have your sales process, they're willing to at least give you tips on where to look to improve your sales process, or if not help you, because at the end of the day, your success, if you don't have a company, or if you have a company that's trying to get you like on a monthly retainer for 6 months, then they may not be a good fit to me, because I've been there. If you give me results, I'll be with you for life, because where am I going to go? I mean, why would I go somewhere if you're giving me results, right? And a company that is willing to, obviously guarantee or back up the results in that sense and help you, because you might be a great PPF or great vinyl installer or great detailer, but you don't know how to market and you don't know how to sell. And now you are gave X amount of dollars to spend on Google a month and X amount of dollars to actually operate and for his labor. But now you're wasting all the damn leads because you don't know how to sell. So you need a company like that knows what they're doing. Maybe they operate a shop kind of like you do, or like the company I use. They do mostly wrap shops. So they have a lot of experience in this industry that can tell you, hey, why don't you do a sell on this, or why don't you approach it that way? Because I mean, unless you worked at another shop doing sales, you're not gonna have all the answers. You're always got to be reinventing the wheel in
Yep.
a sense. So, and two heads is better than one. And even if you can, you have the ad platforms. Like I know you can do self-serve ads on Google. You can boost a
Sure.
post on Instagram. Same thing with Facebook. But the results you're gonna get are no way near what an agency or a company that knows what they're doing is gonna get you. I love running ads. I used to do it. And back in the days on Facebook, you can pick. I want somebody that drives a Porsche, that brushes their teeth with Colgate toothpaste. That's before, no, for real. That's before Mark
Mm-hmm.
Zuckerberg went to Congress and had that issue, with the privacy stuff. So it was easier. And
Yep.
now it's a lot harder. And at the end of the day, if you're doing any numbers, I mean, even if you're doing one front end or two front ends a week, that means you're talking to maybe 20, 30 people to get two front ends. That means you got to be marketing, you got to be washing cars, there's better things you could be doing. You can hand your marketing out to a company that knows what they're doing, set up automated follow-ups, use a good system. I know there's a few out there. We use Orbis X. I know there's Urable, and Tint, and
Yep.
use something like that. We love Orbis. This is not an ad, but
That's
that
okay.
helped me take my business to the next level. Because before, and this is where you lose money, we used to create an appointment on Google Calendar.
Oh no.
And then my front desk guy had to call everybody on Friday to make sure they showed up on Monday. But guess what? Sometimes the fucker wouldn't call somebody and say, yeah, I did call him. But now it's automated. They get a reminder a couple of days before. They get a reminder 24 hours before.
Yep.
We can see they saw the reminder. They can cancel. At the end of the day, we are so busy that if you cancel, we do have a cancellation policy and a price. But if you cancel, I'm like, whew, thank you. We'll get you next week because we have so much going on.
Yeah.
It's fine. Sometimes we do try. No. What's going on? We'll pick up the car or whatever. If we're really needing to do that project this week because next week we have a bunch of stuff going on.
Right.
But systems when it comes to marketing and systems when it comes to follow-up are a huge thing if you want to scale. And obviously the quality of the job, but everybody should do a quality job, right? I mean,
exactly.
that's
And
a given.
100%. Listen, Miguel, thank you so much for making the trip out to that studio there and, joining in.
Like,
And I bet it was. And thank you for sharing the knowledge and just like having a really candid conversation. The goal of this and the whole reason behind Talking Paint is to put more knowledge out there for our sector, for these people that just, they don't know where to look, because our sector attracts so much in terms of blue collar and just people who just don't have the business savvy. And I just want to say that puts you in the upper echelon of the industry, because you've put the industry before your own needs, and you were willing to come to the table and like talk about your failures and talk about where things got messed up. And I would like to personally thank you for giving to everybody else, and thank you for coming on the podcast. So
thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So guys, make sure that you check out the purpleflairagency.com. That's their shop, Purple Flair Wraps. Check out their social media. The Instagram is off the chain. It's wild with content. Make sure that you poke around that, get a little bit of inspiration. And for those of you who are still here, please, we would appreciate if you would give our podcast a rating on Apple or Spotify. Hit the like button, subscribe to us on YouTube, and please leave a comment. We'd love to hear from you. We'd like to hear about what you'd like to for us to cover next. So thank you, everybody, for listening to Talking Paint. We've got Miguel Peralta from Purple Flair Wraps, and my name's Gabe Fletcher. I operate detailing growth in Ceramic Pro Pottstown for Talking Paint. Thank you so much for listening.